On our wedding anniversary, my parents posted an album with captions like, "Something to be proud of." I wasn't in any of the pictures. When asked why, my father replied, "We don't celebrate disappointment." My mother added, "You've always looked wrong somehow, not with your face, not with your life." I said, "Got it. I'll keep that in mind and I won't forget it so easily." Later, I did something that wiped the smiles off their faces. Now they call every half hour. Please, we did not mean that. I know how this is going to sound. Like I'm digging for sympathy or trying to stir something up for attention. But that's not it. I just need to say this somewhere that doesn't get buried under fake smiles and silent treatment. My name's Ryan. I'm 22, still living at home while finishing college. My parents, Alan and Monica, just celebrated their 30th wedding anniversary last weekend. And I swear, they acted like they were royalty renewing their vows. Full catering, rented event hall, white and gold everything. You'd think they were being crowned king and queen of suburbia. I only knew about it because my mom wouldn't stop blowing up the family group chat for weeks. Don't forget to RSVP. Like any of us had something better to do. We all live within a 15-minute drive of each other. And the biggest excitement in this town is a new gas station that opened last month. Anyway, everyone showed up. My older brother Jake was there, obviously. He's the poster boy, ex-varsity quarterback, business school grad, works for some big insurance firm downtown. My younger sister Mia came too, with her dog in a stroller like it was an actual child. She's 17, permanently glued to her phone, always filming some TikTok trend that makes zero sense to me. Then there was Claire, my middle sister, who brought her boyfriend Nathan. He's one of those guys who tries a little too hard to get on Dad's good side. Calls him sir. Even when no one's watching. The dinner was fine. Food was good. Decor was way over the top. And Dad gave a long speech about family values and how their legacy is written in love. Everyone clapped. Even Nathan. I just kept my head down, pushed rice around my plate, and tried not to roll my eyes. I wasn't even mad. I'd been through this too many times. I was just tired. Then things got weird. After dinner, Mom pulled out her phone and started bossing everyone into position for photos in front of the giant glittery, 30 years strong sign. She does this every time there's a gathering. She's obsessed with curating the perfect Facebook album. I offered to help clear the plates, but she stopped me. "Go stand with your siblings," she said, waving me toward the photo line. So I did. We took a bunch of pictures. Some serious, some silly, some with champagne glasses raised. Everyone smiled. No drama. That night, she uploaded the whole album. 48 photos. With captions like, "So proud of our journey," and "Family is everything." I wasn't in a single one. At first, I thought maybe I just missed a few. Maybe the lighting was bad. Maybe she hadn't posted them all yet. I scrolled through again. Then again. Nothing. Not even a group shot. Not even a blurry one in the background. There was a picture of the dog, a picture of Claire and Nathan holding cupcakes, a series of Jake shaking hands with Dad, and a full 5-photo set of Mia's dog in sunglasses. The only evidence I was even there? One photo where I'm cropped out at the edge of the dinner table. You can see half of my elbow. That's it. I asked Claire about it the next day. She just shrugged and said, "Yeah, Mom's been editing them all week. Not sure why." Cool. Real comforting. I tried not to overthink it. Maybe she was rushed. Maybe she meant to upload more. But then I went to get water the next morning, and my dad was already in the kitchen showing my aunt the Facebook post on his phone. I asked, "Hey, why aren't there any pictures of me?" He didn't even pause. "Because we don't celebrate disappointments," he said, deadpan, like he was commenting on the weather. I blinked, thought maybe I misheard him. Claire, standing behind me, went totally still. Mia turned and walked out like she suddenly remembered something important on her phone. "Are you serious?" I asked. Mom walked in holding her coffee. I looked right at her and said, "You really didn't include me in a single picture?" She didn't even flinch. "You never look right in pictures. Not your face, not your life," she said, like she was commenting on a bad haircut, not talking to her own son. I laughed. What else could I do? "Got it. I'll remember this," I said, and walked back to my room. I heard Dad mutter something under his breath as I shut the door. I didn't care. I wasn't surprised, not really. It wasn't the first time they made me feel like the extra piece that didn't fit. But seeing it spelled out in pictures, or in the lack of them, was different. There's something final about being erased. Not yelled at, not scolded, just deleted. I stared at that album again that night. It was full of smiles, hugs, nostalgia, fake, all of it. Jake giving a toast, Mia posing with balloons, Claire laughing with Nathan like they're the golden cast of some Netflix family dramedy. But me, I was never there. And for the first time in a long time, I realized I wasn't just mad. I was done. You want to pretend I don't exist? Fine. Let's see how you handle it when I start pretending too. More soon if anyone cares enough to read. It's been a few days since the anniversary dinner, since the album, since that moment at the kitchen counter when my dad called me a disappointment to my face and my mom said I never looked right in pictures. I haven't said much since then. Not to them. Not to anyone, really. But the thing is, they didn't stop there. I thought maybe, for a second, that it was just a moment. A bad one, yeah, but something that would blow over. That's usually how it goes around here. Something sharp is said, it stings, then gets smoothed over with a half-hearted breakfast or, "Can you take the trash out?" Like nothing happened. But this time it stuck. Monday morning, I was heading to the kitchen to grab some coffee. Walked past the hallway with the family photo wall, the classic one every suburban house seems to have. Ours used to be full. Beach vacations, school plays, birthdays, that one awkward camping trip where we all got poison ivy. The whole nostalgic mess. Except now, my face was missing. Literally. There were photos from the same events, but the ones with me in them were gone. Replaced. Some were scenic shots of sunsets. One was of Mia's dog, dressed in a little raincoat. Another was Jake giving Dad a framed diploma. A couple were just Claire and Nathan at brunch. I stopped and counted. Out of about 30 frames, maybe 2 still had me, but barely. I was in the background, slightly blurred, like I was accidentally caught in someone else's memory. Felt like seeing a ghost. My ghost. I stood there for a long time just staring. Mom walked past me with a basket of laundry and didn't even blink. "You changed the wall?" I asked. "Tidied it up," she said. It was starting to look messy. That's what she called it. Messy. I wanted to say something else, but my throat locked up. So I just nodded and walked away. Later that day, I found my old soccer trophies in a box in the garage, stuffed behind tangled Christmas lights and a cracked plastic tub full of Halloween decorations. I used to have them lined up on a shelf in the den. Not because I was proud, I was a benchwarmer most of the time, but because they meant something to me. They were a part of me. I brought one inside and asked my dad if he knew why it was boxed up. He didn't even look at it. "You quit the team. We needed the space," he said. "Better to fill it with people who follow through." People. Not even kids. Just people. I quit when I was 13 because he spent every game shouting at referees and criticizing my every move on the drive home. But sure, let's pretend it was about commitment. That night I skipped dinner. No one came looking. I left my laundry in the hallway. 3 days. No one touched it. I unplugged the router just to see what would happen. No one asked me. They called the neighbor's son to help. He's 16 and only knows how to reset it because I showed him once. I could hear Dad in the living room grumbling about how kids today have no sense of duty, right? Because ignoring someone while using all the work they do is just how you show love, right? Claire came into my room that night. She didn't say much, just sat on my bed and stared at the floor. "They're being awful," she said eventually. I didn't say anything. I tried talking to Mom. She told me to mind my own business. Said you were being dramatic. I laughed. It wasn't funny. But what else do you do? She told Dad to stop calling you that word, she added. He said he didn't mean it literally. I nodded. Because of course he didn't. He never means it. It just comes out, sharp and cold, and cuts you in ways you don't see until later. Mia said she didn't want to get involved. Claire went on. But I think she knows it's messed up. I shrugged. Mia's 17. She lives in her own orbit. I get it. But still. Then Claire said something that stuck with me. They only like you when you're useful. That one hit harder than anything else. Because it was true. Every time they treated me like part of the family, it was when they needed something. Help with the Wi-Fi, setting up their phones, fixing the car Bluetooth, ordering tickets, running errands. Every favor was a leash. And when I didn't perform, silence. So I started pushing back. Not loud, not explosive, just little things. I stopped refilling the printer paper, stopped organizing the shared calendar that they all relied on for appointments. I started using the family Netflix account again and filled the continue watching list with the weirdest indie horror films I could find. Mom changed the password. I created a new profile and named it Disappointment. She deleted it the next day. Didn't say a word. The silence wasn't quiet. It was deliberate, sharp around the edges, the kind that vibrates with tension. One evening, I walked into the living room and heard Dad on the phone with my uncle. I stopped just outside the doorway. You know how it is, he was saying. Not every kid turns out right. Sometimes you just have to focus on the ones who do. I stepped into the room. He saw me. Didn't stop talking. Just looked at me while he said it. Like he wanted me to hear. I didn't say a word. I poured myself a glass of water, looked him dead in the eye, and left. He didn't slam the door that time. Just let it close. The next day, I found a sticky note on my bedroom door. From Mom. It said, please clean the upstairs bathroom. No, thanks, no, love you, just an order. Like I was the help. I wrote back under it, ask someone you're proud of. The note disappeared. Nothing else was said. Mia didn't speak to me at all. But one night, I heard her talking to a friend on FaceTime. Yeah, she said, it's been weird lately. My parents are kind of freezing Ryan out. I don't know. It's just a lot. At least she noticed. Claire stayed in my corner. Quietly. She wasn't confrontational, not like me. But she was there. She left snacks at my door sometimes. Texted me TikToks she knew I'd laugh at. Told me when the vibe downstairs got worse so I could avoid it. But there was this heaviness hanging over the house. No yelling. Just the silent, mutual stalemate. Like everyone was waiting for me to apologize for something I didn't do. One night, I sat at the top of the stairs and listened to Mom and Dad talking in the kitchen. Their voices were low, but I caught pieces. He's doing it on purpose. Well, what did you expect? I expected him to act like part of this family. You called him a disappointment, Alan. He made himself one. Silence. That was the moment something in me clicked. Not snapped. Just reset. I realized I wasn't trying to win anymore. I wasn't waiting for validation or an apology or some magical turning point. They had made their choice. I was making mine. If they wanted me gone so badly in their memories, in their photos, in their stories, then maybe it was time they saw what that actually looked like. Not erased. Absent. And that's a different kind of power. To be continued. By the time the second week rolled around after the whole photo wall thing, I'd stopped bothering to pretend. I wasn't angry in the dramatic, shouting way. I was quiet. Still. The kind of still that makes people nervous because they know something's coming, they just don't know when. It was like I'd turned invisible, and for once I let them keep thinking that. Let them live in the house without acknowledging I was in it. I'd walk into a room and someone would walk out. No eye contact. No hellos. No, can you pass the salt? I'd become a ghost they were pretending wasn't haunting their perfect suburban castle. And they were fine with that. Until I stopped being useful. See, my parents had this rental house. They've had it for years, some little fixer-upper near the lake that they love to show off at dinner parties like they're real estate moguls. Airbnb, they said. Passive income. Legacy investments. In reality, it only runs because of me. I set up the listings, managed the schedule, installed the cameras, automated the door lock, handled the payments, wrote the guest instructions. The tech side of things? All me. They never figured any of it out. They just bragged about how well it was doing while I kept it from falling apart. And after the photo album, the erasure, the trophies in the garage, and the look Dad gave me when he said I made myself a disappointment, I decided to see what would happen if I stepped back. I didn't break anything. I didn't delete accounts. I just paused it, marked the calendar as unavailable, changed the door code, turned off autopay. I figured they'd notice in a week or two. It took 3 days. Mom cornered me while I was making toast. Do you know why the rental hasn't had any bookings this week? She asked. Her voice was tight, smile forced. I didn't look up. No idea. Maybe the algorithm's acting up. Ask Jake, he's the one you're proud of. She stared at me for a beat too long, then left without saying another word. 2 days later, Dad was in the kitchen, pacing like a lion with a thorn in his paw, swearing under his breath about cancellations and how nothing's working the way it used to. I sat on the couch drinking coffee, saying nothing. He called the rental company's support line. I knew they wouldn't help much. The account was set up in my name. My idea. My email. My password. Eventually, he gave up. Went back to sulking. That weekend, Claire popped into my room, flopped onto my bed, and said, you know they're losing like $1,000 a week, right? I shrugged. Weird. Hope they figure it out. She smiled in that way she does when she knows I'm full of it but isn't going to push. Honestly, they kind of deserve it. Word started to spread. I didn't even do anything dramatic. Just told my cousin Sam what happened at the anniversary dinner. How I'd been left out of the pictures. How Dad said what he said. I didn't even editorialize. A day later, Sam texted, Yo, Amanda is pissed. Amanda's our cousin on Mom's side. She's loud, loyal, and never been good at keeping her opinions to herself. Apparently, she showed the album to her mom, who then called my mom to ask if I was okay. Mom tried to spin it. Oh, Ryan just doesn't like taking pictures. Sure. But now my aunt knew. And cousins started asking questions in the group chat. People started noticing. Because no matter how much you try to curate a perfect image, someone will eventually notice the missing face. Meanwhile, back at home, things were unraveling. Dad tried asking Mia to help fix the listings. She didn't even look up from her phone. That's Ryan's thing. He tried guilt-tripping me next. You're costing this family money, he snapped one morning after I came downstairs for cereal. I just looked at him. You said I was a disappointment. Why would you want my help? He got in my face. Close. Too close. I didn't move. Didn't flinch. Just kept eating. He slammed the fridge so hard a magnet popped off and clattered to the floor. Mia texted me later that night, you okay? I replied, fine. Don't worry about it. She left it at that. But at least she asked. The next morning, Mom tried playing nice. Made pancakes. The whole family peace offering routine. I came down, grabbed coffee, ignored the plate she set out for me. She followed me to the driveway. Said, you need to be mature about this. I laughed. Tell Dad to stop calling me a disappointment and maybe I'll think about it. She slapped my shoulder, not hard, just enough to say she was pissed and hissed, stop embarrassing this family. I said, not my problem anymore. And I meant it. The rental sat dormant for another week. The missed income added up. The kitchen renovation they'd been bragging about? Postponed. The new SUV Dad wanted? Quietly disappeared from conversations. They didn't know how to explain it. Their friends were starting to ask questions. Church folks, neighbors. Hey, why's the place offline? You guys still doing the rental thing? They lied. Blamed it on tech issues. Claimed it was being remodeled. And the more they squirmed, the more I watched. It wasn't revenge. Not really. It was clarity. For years, I had carried more than they ever saw. Fixed things they never acknowledged. Made their lives easier in ways they'd grown too comfortable with. And the second I didn't fit their narrative, I was gone. So I made myself gone where it mattered. They wanted the image of a perfect family. One that didn't include me? Fine. Let's see how the performance holds when the spotlight flickers. I kept the pause going. Didn't respond to Dad's demands. Ignored Mom's passive-aggressive texts. Let the silence speak. Claire noticed. She told me one night they're unraveling. Good, I said. You're not wrong, she added. But also, you're playing with fire. Maybe, I said. But they lit the match. A few days later, I overheard Dad talking to my uncle again. This time, his tone was different. Frustrated. A little panicked. I don't know what's wrong with him. He used to be helpful. Now it's like he wants to sabotage everything. No, I wanted to stop saving people who made me feel like trash. There's a difference. That night, I left the house for a bit. Crashed at Amanda's. Played some old video games and didn't talk about it much. She didn't ask for the full story. Just handed me a controller and let me be. When I got back the next day, I had 10 missed calls. All from my parents. And a new sticky note on my door, we need to talk. Now. I didn't answer. Let them sit with it. Let them feel it. For the first time in years, they couldn't ignore me because I'd removed the comfort of my usefulness. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't storming out. I wasn't throwing dishes or causing scenes. I just stopped showing up where they expected me to hold everything together. And they hated it, because it meant they had to do the work. To be continued. You know what the most surreal part is? How fast everything shifted once the rental money stopped rolling in. I'd been invisible for years. Spoken over, cropped out, dismissed. But the second my silence came with financial consequences, suddenly I was the center of attention. Started the Friday I stayed at Amanda's. No fight, no drama. I just didn't come home. Played games, ate garbage food, and actually laughed for the first time in a while. I didn't check my phone all night. When I woke up the next morning, 15 missed calls, 12 texts, all from Mom and Dad. Call us now. This is serious. We need to talk. I didn't answer. When I walked through the door later that day, Dad was already in the kitchen, pacing like he'd worn a groove into the tile. He tried to play it cool at first. Hey son, everything good? I said nothing, just poured a glass of water. Ryan, he tried again. We should have a conversation. I looked at him, calm, blank. Didn't you say you don't celebrate disappointments? He forced a laugh, like we were doing some father-son banter. Come on, that was just... Mom came in then, wearing her practice smile. The one she uses at church brunches and HOA meetings. You're being immature, Ryan. Don't ruin this for everyone. I stared at her. You already did. She tried to grab my arm. Pulled away. She slapped my hand. Not hard, but hard enough. Stop making a scene, she snapped. You need to grow up. I didn't say another word. Just walked upstairs. They didn't follow. But that night I heard them arguing. Real arguing. Not passive jabs or cold shoulders. Full volume, door slamming, voice cracking anger. Claire tried to mediate, but even she couldn't cut through it. You started this, Mom hissed. He's doing it on purpose, Dad snapped. Well, what did you expect after the way you treated him? He should be grateful we even. Claire's voice, sharp for once. He's your son, not a damn employee. It went quiet after that. But the damage was already showing. Mom tried spinning things to extended family. Told her sister that I was going through a rebellious phase. But Amanda had already told half the cousins what was happening. The family group chat got weirdly quiet for a while. Then questions started showing up in other ways. My aunt texted me, "Do you need somewhere to stay?" I didn't say yes, but I didn't say no either. Meanwhile, the rental stayed offline. Bookings stayed canceled. The mortgage went unpaid. I knew because Dad left a bill open on the kitchen table. I saw the red stamp. They started trying to troubleshoot it themselves. Guessing passwords, resetting things, calling customer support. But none of it worked. The account was mine. All of it. Mom cornered me in the hallway one afternoon. We need you to fix the listing. It's affecting everything. I raised an eyebrow. You mean the family legacy? She flinched. Don't be petty. I smiled. I learned from the best. Dad tried a different angle. Came to my door and knocked. Quietly for once. Ryan, I'm asking. Please, help us out this one time. I opened the door halfway. You still think I'm a mistake? He sighed. I never said that. You said I made myself a disappointment. You said to focus on the kids who turned out right. He looked tired. People say things in anger. I nodded. And some of us remember them. Then I closed the door. That weekend, Mom started crying. Loudly. In the kitchen. Like she wanted everyone to hear. Dad sulked in the garage. Mia stayed in her room, earbuds in, pretending the house wasn't imploding. Claire posted a picture on Instagram. It was of the two of us sitting on the curb, sharing a soda. Caption, "The real ones." Mom texted her, "Take that down." Claire didn't. A day later, one of Dad's golf buddies asked him at brunch why the Airbnb was mysteriously unavailable. Dad said it was under renovation. The guy said, "Funny. Your son told my nephew you're locked out of it." Oops. By Monday, the church ladies were whispering. Neighbors were looking twice. People Dad had spent years trying to impress were now seeing the cracks. He tried yelling again. "You're tearing this family apart." I looked him in the eye. You erased me first. He shoved me. I didn't move. Claire stepped between us. Enough. He backed off. But the line had been crossed. Again. They couldn't spin it anymore. Couldn't pretend I was just moody or dramatic. Not when the bills were piling up. The bookings were still frozen. And they had no one to blame but the person they'd spent years ignoring. I wasn't sabotaging anything. I was just done. No more tech support. No more pretending. No more saving them from their own behavior. I got a text from Mia. Just 3 words. You okay now? I sent back, getting there. Then another message from her. Thanks for not leaving. Even when they deserved it. That hit harder than I expected. She didn't have to say anything else. Claire came to my room later that night. She brought chips. Sat on the floor. You gonna forgive them? She asked. I didn't answer right away. Then, I don't think it's about forgiveness anymore. What then? Freedom. She nodded. You earned it. Later that week, I locked the rental account. Set it to private. Froze access until next year. Left a note in the admin panel. You can't run a house when you throw out the foundation. Did they see it? Probably. Did they say anything? No. But they got the message. Mom tried one last time. Came to my door with a tray of tea. Like I was 10 years old and sick. We didn't mean it, Ryan. You know we love you. I didn't take the tea. Then maybe you should have included me, I said. She stood there for a while. Then walked away. The tray sat outside my door for hours. Eventually, Claire took it. Now things are quiet. Tense, but quiet. No more yelling. No more fake breakfasts. Just silence. The kind that's full of broken mirrors and truths too sharp to ignore. I'm still here. For now. But I'm planning. Slowly. Patiently. Saving money. Reaching out to cousins. Looking for places. Not because I want to escape. But because I want space to exist fully. Without edits. Without erasure. Without conditions. They called me a disappointment. They tried to erase me. But the thing about erasing someone, sometimes they erase you right back. And when the image breaks, the truth gets loud. So yeah, I said I'd remember. And I do. Every day. But I'm not stuck there anymore. They made me invisible. Now I've made myself seen. For real this time. The end. For now.